Forum. Now, I would like to go on because we are a little bit late. And I give the floor to Philippe. Sorry, I'm not going to pronounce your surname. It's a little bit complicated. So.
Allora, Philippe.
Perfect. Philippe is going to talk about whey and derivatives. In the previous speeches, someone talked about the role of whey, which is very much important. In Italy, we are a little bit lagging behind. But Philippe is going to talk about whey and derivatives, new drivers for a growing demand. Philippe is the General Director, is GEA General Director. More specifically, he deals with process engineering in France, and he is responsible for the Dairy Evaporation Center.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you, Angela Rossi, and the organizing committee for this invitation we had. We are not dairy farmers. We are not dairy companies, we are not a dairy association, but we are part of a value chain. And it's probably the right moment to talk about that because the market is changing a lot. I do remember some discussion I had in the past with some industrial manager in France, and they were just telling me, Philippe, when we are producing 1 kilo of powder, we are just losing money. Point. Now it's over. The game is totally changed. We have new players, new conditions, and the topic is just to set up a clear strategy for the companies and to find the money. Two main items. So, just talk a little bit about GEA. You probably know this company. We are a large engineering company based, headquartered in Germany with around 25,000 people, a revenue around, let's say, 6 billion euro. We are mainly dedicated to food industry and to dairy industry. Nevertheless, we are also working in the pharma field, in the chemical field, and also for the environmental field. Regarding our organization, you have here our 6 segments, main divisions. These segments are the operational level of a company. If you are looking at the second one is GEA Farm Technology. It's all milking and cooling for farm. And the second segment, which is strictly correlated to your business, is this one, what we call process engineering. With well-known brands such as Nairo or GEA Copenhagen. That means that we are able to deliver complete plant from the very beginning to the final powder. You have also here some example in instant coffee, milk powder, also up to aseptic filler, packing and canning. Our topic is dairy and main trends regarding whey. We already heard speaker, you mentioned that everybody is now focusing on whey trend. It's clearly a fact. I'm just here mentioning some orders, significant orders we recently got. All these orders have been public in newspapers. I will not say anything about Glambia. Maybe Jim will comment later on if you find it appropriate. Just one word regarding Fonterra Darfield 1 and Darfield 2. Darfield 2, we are just building this plant. It's the largest spread dryer worldwide. This whole mixed spread dryer will produce 30 tons per hour. That means it will process, this one-line process will handle 4.4 million liters milk per day. The point is not to duplicate that in Europe. It's nonsense, no way. But for us, it's an extremely good lesson because we are learning a lot of things regarding the upscaling of large plant, and we can take the benefit of these lessons to design the smaller plant. Following example is Laiterie de Montaigu. Laiterie de Montaigu is a baby food plant in France. It's a middle-sized company, and they are exporting all their production infant formula to China. They made an agreement with one of the main Chinese dairy companies to produce in France. This is one of the business model which can be used. We also delivered a number of some of our installation, Danone baby nutrition in Ireland and Vinamilk in Vietnam. These plants are dedicated to baby food activity. No way, yes way. I'm really sorry for the translator. They have to find something. But it's, and this sentence was used during the last International Whey Conference at Chicago in 2011. The next International Whey Conference will take place in Paris next year, so you are kindly invited to assist because it will be a key event. It's clear that now whey is no longer a problematic byproduct of cheese production. It has to be considered as a highly valuable raw material for food ingredient. Adrian already mentioned that cheese can be considered under some assumptions as a byproduct now. And it's covering from animal feed, still important, to filler and food product, the usual bakery confectionery segment, but it's also to be considered as a promising stream of unique bioactive fractions. You can focus on prebiotics, BMOs, lactoferrin, immunoglobulin, and so on. And it's pretty clear that this whey protein, this whey component, in the future, they will create novel foods, they will affect brain function, they will help fighting malnutrition. And it's probably the task for the next coming generation of scientists. But till now, already now, we are working on that. And for some, for instance, for some allergic diseases, or for obesity on the other side, which is a real problem in the States, there are some scenarios which are right now under investigation. I took this one because it's coming from a former IWC in Paris, but it's really interesting. But it's showing on a unique slide what you can get from whey with a different added value. We have the first row with the first level of added value, whey powder, demineralized whey powder, WPC 35, lactose and permeate powder. And then you have WPC 80, minerals, lactose pharma grade, plus WPI and protein fraction. On the very right, you can see all these derivatives you can have, galactose, lactulose, lactitose, and other. That means that whey has to be considered as a real potential stream to get some interesting fractions. Market trends, I will not spend a lot of time on that because this has been already covered, but right now, what is the status? Till now, whey production and whey powder is either a European affair or an American affair. If you are looking at the left part, it's showing the whey powder consumption in Europe. It's still basically feed, 65%. And infant formula, of course, is growing. It's a red portion at, it's a red portion at 19%. On the right, you have this consumption of whey product in the States. The use in the feed segment is rather low, but still 45%. And you have the increasing part with a green version for the infant formula. So this is the status. Where are we? I mean, we are having a very fortunate configuration for the global European dairy powder activity. First of all, and we are at the consumption level, the dairy powder consumption growth is driven by 5% year per year growth of the world's middle class. And you have to notice that this world middle class, they will be located in the future in Asia and in China. The expectations are to jump from 1.8 billion people to around 5 billion people in 2030. And in 2030, the prediction says that 60% of the middle class will be located in Asia. And of course, dairy consumption is following the middle class growth. Second factor, nutritional formula, infant formula or elderly, it is a major driver of growth. And if you are looking at China, it's a combination of very high value and profitability and large volume due to the population. And that's been increasing consumption of a required ingredient for nutritional formula. Required ingredients are whey powder, demin whey powder, WPC, WPI. Additionally, for the next generation, strong and promising development of whey functional functions. For healthcare, already mentioned, nutrition, pharmaceutical. That means that there is clearly an increasing demand for whey and whey derivates. What about the production now? This is still related to the expectation. You can see that globally, the increase is existing for all the categories, with a significant higher rate on WPC80 here and WPI. Lactose is also a really interesting market which is right now booming. What is the growth potential? You can see the growth rate on the left and the volume. And again, you have this large bubble with infant formula. That's mean high growth, high value, high volume. So, regarding the production side, we have, of course, and everybody is aware about that, of this deregulation of European milk production, which allows the increase of milk production under debate according to the different countries. Still, it seems that now France is rather stagnating, but there is a clear increase in Germany and in Ireland. Jim will mention that. This is also connected with a reduction of a dairy farm. And a major portion will be processed into whey product able to be stored and transported. Second, the dairy processing companies are having a heavy reshaping consolidation process we have a large number of merger, acquisition, joint venture, and so on. That's mean rationalization, upgrading, economy of scale for many dairy plants. This is on the agenda. In France, for instance, most of the speech barriers are more than 30 years old. In Italy, you know the situation. And now, non-European companies are also investing in new plants in Europe. Adrian already mentioned this case with Frontera and Whey, which is a very interesting business model. With a cheese production, with Whey, the existing company in the Netherlands, and Frontera. Frontera is looking for this Whey product. You have also a number of other initiatives right now in Europe and also in New Zealand with Chinese investors investing in Europe or in New Zealand for dairy product, whey product, baby food. You know the scandal they had in China, so now they need a good, excellent traceability. There are a number of projects popping up everywhere in Europe with some dairy companies, Chinese companies investing in Europe or in New Zealand. You read that on the newspaper. But also with newcomers in the field. Chinese investors, for instance, which are not already involved in the process, in the market, but we are able to bring the funding. Till now, whey powder production was mainly located in Europe and the States, and as you already mentioned, we are seeing now a new configuration with new producers coming from other countries, specifically from South America. So there is large demand, and the supply side is able to support the demand. What is the situation right now for our company and our competitors too? A large number of greenfield plants to produce WPC, WPI, skim milk, lactose, edible of pharmaceutical lactose. Growing requirement for a larger plant. It's pretty clear that the bigger the plant, the better the efficiency and the greater return. And processing large volume provides clear operational economical advantage. If you are looking at GNR or spread wire for milk, for whey, the size is a little bit lower. We have more than doubled over the last 10 years the size of a plant. And most of the new plants right now are in the range of 8 to 10 or even to 15 tons per hour. That means that milk producer, dairy processing companies and technology suppliers have to face a major challenge, and this has to be considered as a common and a joint challenge. Engineering aspect, maybe it's not clear enough, but the idea behind that is that you have here on the top the cheese plant, and on the second part at the bottom the whey processing. You can get from whey powder, and from the left to the right, whey powder, demineralized whey powder, WPC, WPIs, lactose powder, etc. A huge quantity of powder or huge quantity of product with a high number of engineering steps. That means that when you are entering the market, and when you are new in this market, for the large international company, the game is different, of course. But you have to set up a clear strategy. Where do you want to go, and what do we want to sell? Again, in correlation with the engineering aspect. This is clearly a booming area, as I already mentioned, for process engineer. It could be a dream. because they have to face the complexity of milk. It's now a raw material. And all these topics have to be considered, covered by specialists, of course. You have a large number of unit operations. You have also a revitalized focus on the crystallization step, which is really specific. We are implementing novel technologies, ion exchange, thermal processing. We have also new application, development of decalcification process, demineralization, decolorization process, and with a target, the food quality. That means that there are plenty of options, and to select what is the most appropriate, this is the clear result of discussion between the specialists and the dairy processing companies. What are right now the main drivers for our customers when they are entering a new global project? We are talking about total cost of ownership, nicknamed TCO, and overall equipment efficiency, nicknamed OEE. That means that the decisions now are no longer made on the amount of money you can read at the bottom of the quote. It has been over for many years. Now the customers are considering both CapEx, capital expenditure, and operational cost, CapEx plus OpEx action. And we have to follow that, and we are anticipating that with a number of tools. I don't want to spend too more time on that. Energy management, energy recovery system is key because it's one of the success factors. And as an example, I'm just mentioning that we are getting a saving up to 20% on an evaporation spray drying plant equipped with heat recovery system. It's one of the key issues when you are handling such a new project. When you are coming back to the overall equipment efficiency, first step is measuring. Where are we? Because you cannot consider any improvement if you don't even know the starting point. And we are launching a number of actions to increase the production time of the plant and to reduce the cleaning phase, for instance. Minimizing cleaning period and frequency, minimizing product loss, minimizing equipment breakdown. All these topics are related to what we call total productive maintenance. It's part of our joint approach when we are building such a project with a customer. Finally, but not the least, but you are aware, food safety, because it's a major risk for the dairy industry. And it's a permanent challenge because new products are coming on the market. So you are covering new risk. New operational units are integrated in the process, and more risk areas are appearing. Of course, the impact on the environment is key in Europe and in New Zealand. Conclusion. I hope I'm just in time. There is a clear market opportunity regarding whey and whey derivates. I'm not really familiar with the Italian market, but I can see that Italy is a milk importer, a great milk importer, but it seems that whey is exported to France, to Germany, and to the Netherlands. Just a comment. So market opportunity, growing and sustainable market, we know the reasons. There is a significant added value for the customer, clearly. And you have a large range of products to face price volatility. Again, you can easily be lost within all this option. So that means that setting up this strategy is a key factor of success. Joint approach, because we are convinced that this is a joint challenge for dairy processing companies and technology providers, and we are one of the leading technology providers. And we have also to work together with universities and R&D centers. It's now usual for us to work with universities in Denmark, in France, in Germany, because we have to do. We cannot do and cover everything. It's too complicated. Finally, from commodities to niche market, it's an innovative step forward, clearly. So we are again convinced that we cannot handle that alone. Grazie per l'attenzione, grazie mille, thank you very much.
Grazie. Grazie Philippe.
Thank you very much, Philippe. Well, this is another very interesting presentation, opening up new scenarios. Maybe during our Q&A session, we shall go back to this, also to find out what happens today to Whey in Italy, and whether it is possible to recover some margins on this front as well.